Hi, Richard.
Hello.
So just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Victoria Patrick and I am the Programme Manager for Creative Schools.
Hi there, and I'm Richard Watts, and along with my colleague Lucy, we've been delivering collaborative learning as part of the Creative Schools programme, and I'm the Exec Director of People Make It Work.
Brilliant. So we're here today to talk a little bit about that collaborative learning programme, which took part as a main strand of Creative Schools over the past 2 years. Can you talk a little bit about what the collaborative learning programme was?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so collaborative learning was 1/4 of the Creative Schools programme, and the other parts related to brokerage in schools, youth voice, and research around New London. And the collaborative learning piece was about creating an offer for all the organisations that were taking part in Creative Schools, all the cultural organisations, in order that they could learn together some of the skills, expertise and practice that was happening within their organisations and also beyond East London. We started by doing a kind of needs analysis really and understanding from all those partners what is it that you want from, what would enable you to work in schools even better. And so that led to 3 strands of work. A strand that was called What Schools Want, which was really exploring the ways in which schools are, what school agendas are, how to access and build relationships with schools, what kinds of challenges they have, and how you might best engage with them. So there were some organisations in Creative Schools like Beau Arts who've got really established relationships with a bunch of schools, and so they could really share that expertise. But we also heard from schools directly, school managers talking about what it's like from that side, teachers talking about that too. So that was called What Schools Want, and then we had another strand that was about collaborative working, so understanding the skills of collaboration and partnership, and kind of focusing on developing those over time. And then the third strand was called the one about the money, which was thinking about the funding challenges of schools, the funding challenges in the creative sector, and where sources of funding might come from, and how to make creative learning add up for organisations. So that's the programme. There's 16 odd events. They happened in typically in the venues of the organisations that are part of the programme. And we had a whole bunch of speakers who came from both inside and outside the network who brought their expertise and knowledge.
Great, thank you. So why did the programme develop? Why was it needed?
I think what we heard from the needs analysis was that there was a lot of organisations that had successful relationships, perhaps with 1 or 2 schools, but there were lots of other schools that they weren't connected with. They maybe found it hard to build relationships with. The cultural sector as a whole weren't working together on their creative offer. So there was quite a lot of isolation across there. We knew that there was some really great skills and expertise. We had this sort of mantra that, which I think Sir William Gibson quote, that the future's already here, it's just unevenly distributed. So people are already doing stuff that others could learn from. The scale of the different partners was really distinctive. So there were some organisations that were tiny, with a couple of employees, and others, with hundreds and hundreds of employees, and really developed practice over time. So in both cases, there's an opportunity for people to learn from each other, build their own confidence as much as competence, and understand that everybody shares similar challenges. And I think that was one of the main things that came out of it, actually.
For sure. Great. Can you talk us through some of the impacts of the work that we did together?
Yeah. So I think it was interesting. It's interesting to think about it, I suppose, in the areas of knowledge and expertise, partnerships and relationships, and kind of confidence and capacity. So, certainly in the knowledge and expertise area, we have some really amazing speakers, whether it's from within the partnership or without. So Wigmore Hall, RSC, MB Associates, the Barbican, the list goes on. Paul Hamlin Foundation, Cause 4. So there's a whole host of organisations that shared their expertise, and I think that was really helpful for everyone. I think there was a cohort. There's a group of people that came on a regular basis, who built relationships, who prioritised this learning for themselves, and I think that set of relationships is interesting. It's so much easier to build a future partnership if you know those people and have thought and learned together in the past. And then I think there's something around confidence and capacity. So I definitely saw people feeling more confident in their own practice. It can be a bit isolating. In some cultural organisations, the creative learning bit feels a bit isolated anyway. So bringing those people together, I think was really helpful. And this that I think built confidence that people knew how to do this stuff, and they've been working in that. Lots of people have got many years of practice, and I think so that confidence was very clear as an impact, I think.
Great. And could you say a few things about sort of what the kind of key learning was?
Yeah, so I think from our perspective, people make it work, and within the creative learning, within the creative schools steering group, if you like, I think some of our learning was about being really clear about what you want to try and achieve, having the right people on the steering group, the creating opportunities for people to engage in ways that fit around their lives, recognising the priorities that other people have, making sure it feels really practical and concrete, focusing as much on relationships and listening as on delivering knowledge. So, having quite a distributed sense of what learning is, quite a relaxed sense of how creating a safe place where people can kind of think and learn together. I think we've learned quite a lot about the universal nature of some skills. So, some of the skills that we need in order to build relationships with communities are the same ones we need to build relationships with schools, are the same ones we need to build a collaborative project across the city. So that there's some stuff that we just know how to do, but we maybe don't apply it to our school's work in the same way that we apply it to other things that we're doing. And I think we've learned quite a lot that is influencing the way that we're working in the future. So really recognising that that in the 21st century, kind of this kind of like semi-informal learning is likely to be more sustainable than a formal, like episodic formal learning program where you kind of leave your work and go off and kind of engage in sort of a more formal, structured process. So, there's enough learning, there's enough knowledge out there that actually creating opportunities for people to learn from each other is a really efficient and effective way of doing that, I think.
Definitely, and it was really interesting to hear those reflections, and from a kind of personal point of view, those models that we developed in East London, are absolutely informing sort of other ways that we're working in partnership in the future in the City of London, and further to build on that in East London through the East London Cultural Education Alliance. So, really exciting.
Amazing.
Great.
Yeah, it's been good to talk.
Very good to talk.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.